birthday. Please help me welcome to the stage the incredible Joe Montana!
I have some seriously bad memories of this town. Well, I should say that at least the ones that I can remember thanks to Ruth Smith. But off the beginning, people when I'm traveling around are always asking about the success of the 49ers, my success, and what I really thought the key to that was. And after putting a lot of thought to it and looking around, I really, truly believe that preparation was our key to success. And I believe it's your key to success. I believe the way you prepare yourself, the way you go to work every day, the way you go to practice every day, the way you show up, will have more to do with your success than anything else. We've all heard that saying about there's no I in team, right? How many believe that? Well, I don't. And I'll tell you why. I think they have a little, they use the term because me is in there, and I really think they were talking about the me person, because that person, typical guy back in the news, is a typical me person, Terrell Owens, right? It's all about me. What are you doing for me today? But what I believe is true is that there is an I in team, and I believe it because I think you should be saying to yourself every day, what can I be doing today that will make myself better, that will in turn make my team better? And how do you go about that? And I say it's with your preparation. So today I want to talk about preparation and two byproducts of that, what comes along with preparation, that's work ethic and trust. So with preparation, where do we begin, right? Fundamentals. Two parts of there. Fundamentals, I believe, and perfection. Well, let's start with fundamentals. Now, every business has fundamentals. And when you see a business that's successful, I promise you, their fundamentals are very true. If it's not, you will see that they are lacking in their fundamentals. And it's the same with sports. You know, I was lucky as a kid, because I grew up, I love sports. I played baseball, basketball, and football all the way through my freshman year in college. And I was lucky, as I was saying, because I had a father who understood the importance of those fundamentals. I didn't know it at the time I was being taught fundamentals because I was just having fun playing the sport. And what would happen, my dad and my mom worked in the same office for 27 years. Not sure how that happened or how they stayed together that long, but 27 years in the same office. And when he would come home, I always had a ball in my hand, and I was ready to go out and have some fun. Well, basketball was my favorite sport. Most of the time my dad would come home and he'd take me down to the local park, which we don't see that happening much anymore these days, but sure enough, we'd go down there, and I'd be down there, we'd be practicing, I'd be shooting all the time and having a little fun. And my dad was noticing that I was always going over to this one spot, and I was shooting. And I said, finally one day he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm practicing. I like this spot. It's my favorite spot. I like this. He says, what do you think? In the game, they're going to say, hey, go head over to your favorite spot. It's okay. You can go over there. It's fine. So he said, no. So he started teaching me, you know, how to dribble left hand, shoot left hand, all the passes that were necessary, bounce pass, chest pass, all these things that as a kid, you're going, oh, this is ridiculous. So, in the end, though, we always had a little bit of fun. He would let me, we'd play a little one-on-one, all right? And I was always a little bit quicker than he is, or was, at that time even. And he'd get a little tired of me going past him, so he'd stick his foot out and trip me. What are you doing? He'd laugh. His favorite thing, though, was when I'd go to get a rebound, he'd step on my foot so I couldn't jump. And I said, you can't do that. He goes, I just did. What are you going to do about it? So he started telling me, you got to pay attention to the little things, the little parts, and the little things make a difference. It's not just the shooting and all the important things that you see, but little things make a big difference that you don't know. Those little things can get frustrating if you're not aware of it. So my dad, you know, obviously when you're a kid, he continued to do that. And I also love football. So, but as a 10 or 12-year-old, it's really hard to find 5 or 6 kids that are going to go out and run routes for you while you drop back a few steps. And, you know, at that age, you're throwing it over their head and they're chasing the ball. So he steps in, like he always does, and he would run the routes for me. And every now and then, he had thought I forgot about that basketball stuff. He'd turn to run a little bit, and I'd throw this one a little bit harder than normal and bounce off his chest. Sorry, Dad. You know, he's also very competitive. And he'd run crossing routes, and I would keep throwing the ball a little bit more and a little bit more in front of him until I could get him to actually where he'd fall down. I'd go help him up. Sorry, Dad. Thought I forgot about that stuff, huh? But he's also very creative, because one day, our yard wasn't big enough to do all this in, so we had to go to my neighbor's yard, and they had a huge backyard. And they had this big tree back there, and one day we came down there, and there was a tire swing hanging there. He said, "Oh, this is great." I was like, "What are you talking about?" "Watch this. Go back there, and I want you to throw the ball through the tire swing." And he didn't have to run back and forth, and we can work on your accuracy. I'll swing the tire, and you'll try to throw it through the tire as it's moving. Oh, this is great. He loved it. Well, you know, as kids, we always have our own ideas, right, on how we can get things done. Well, my neighbor, his front yard, this was the street. His front yard had a little dip in it, and then there was a little plateau about where the floor is. Now this was perfect for us because we could stand on this little plateau, and in the wintertime as the cars drove by, we had snowballs. And we had made up a game on front tires, this point, passenger windows, this much. Everything had a point, right? And if you had to throw between parked cars and hit the moving car, even more points. So we were pretty excited about this game, and you know, we thought we were having a lot of fun, and my dad didn't think it was that exciting when the police brought me home. So he wasn't very happy about, you know, what was taking place, because we thought we could just dump off the back of his yard and not get caught, but we weren't looking down the backside. They came up from behind us and got us. But anyway, you never know, you know, when little things come back to help you, as I was saying. So one day, I find myself on the David Letterman show. Now, I'd done all kind of crazy stuff. I've been on there a number of times, and one time we're out there, and he goes, "Come on, we're going to go in and sit in jail." We had a little skit in jail, and I was fine with it until he scooted over and put his arm around me, and I got a little nervous. Another day, we're on the wharf in San Francisco stuffing live crabs down the front of our pants. Have no idea. I mean, I could feel the juice running into my shoes, and I'm going, this is really stupid. But this time I go on there, and he says, "Hey, listen, I got a challenge for you." I said, "Okay, I'm always up for a challenge." He goes, "We're going to go outside, and I'm going to line up some taxis, and I'm going to drive them down the street, and I want you to throw the football through the passenger window."
I saw that episode when
And I'm saying, "Okay, that sounds good." He goes, "But before you go, I just want you to know that there were a couple guys that I've tried this already, and they didn't make it. But," and he goes, "You might know their name. I think it was Aikman and Young." So I know I'm making one before I leave, right? So we get out there, and I step back, and here comes the first taxi, and I throw the ball, and it hits the divider between the front passenger window and the back, and bounces back to me. I catch it, and I'm going, "Oh, this is too easy. I'll get this, no problem." So here comes the next taxi, just about to start, and the guy taps me on the shoulder and says, "Hey, listen, Johnny doesn't want you to throw the ball so hard." I said, "Okay, and this is TV. What's going on? Did I do something wrong?" He goes, No. Johnny's the next cabbie. He's afraid you're going to get it in the window. You're going to hit him while he's driving." No one's ever worried about how hard I throw a football. It's never come up before. But sure enough, here comes, I step back, and I throw the ball right through the window. Now, we go to a commercial, they cut to a commercial, and I am just going crazy. I'm ecstatic about it. And Letterman looks at me like I'm crazy. He goes, what are you doing? You just threw a stupid football through a window. You act like you won the Super Bowl. I go, the show's taped, right? He goes, well, obviously, it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I said, well, let me tell you a story about my dad and when I was a kid. And I said, so as soon as I leave here, I'm calling my dad and say, Dad, do you remember when the police brought me home? Watch Letterman tonight. I told you it would pay off. So you never know when those little things make a big difference. I could have made a fool of myself. But preparation and fundamentals are really a big part of my early learning, and I got it from my father. And I went on to Notre Dame, where we had won a national championship. Was getting a great education, and I got drafted in 1979 by the 49ers. So when I left Notre Dame, I really thought I was prepared for the NFL. Played in a lot of big games on television, but little did I know that I was just beginning to learn what preparation was all about. I ran into a guy named Bill Walsh, and Bill Walsh stressed two things to me. One, which I thought I was totally over with, was fundamentals. We worked fundamentals every day. He believed you can't throw the ball without the bottom half of your body, and if I hear, bend your knees one more time while I'm sleeping, it still echoes in my head. And the other was perfection. And especially at the quarterback position, he wanted perfection. Because I don't want you to be mediocre. I don't want the ball 8 inches behind the guy, 24 inches in front of him. I want it 12 inches in front of the number. I want you to almost catch the ball for him. You talk about perfection. We didn't throw the ball deep a lot. We didn't have Jerry Rice for a long time. And he was not comfortable throwing the ball down the field because it was a low percentage pass. But he did a study one day. And he said, if you drop back 5 steps, hitch forward, throw the ball, and you hit between 43 and 45 yards, I don't care what defense it is, you'll complete 93% of passes. That was what he went around looking at the guys who threw the ball deep all the time. Sure enough, when they went back and looked over the film that year, when we hit those steps and threw to that number, we completed 93% of our passes. So he was always into the little things, into the detail. But what happens while you're working and striving to be perfect is you build your work ethic, right? And your work ethic tells everyone around you what you're willing to sacrifice to accomplish the goals that you've set and the team set. But when I talk about work ethic, there's only one person that comes to my mind, and that's Jerry Rice. And Jerry Rice was a highly talented rookie. Bill was talking about how great he was, how many yards he caught and ran for, how many touchdowns he threw. Made me a little nervous for a minute. But the first wide receivers are taught. Catch the ball, turn around, and go up the field 10 or 15 yards in practice every day. Get used to catching the ball and getting upfield. Jerry Rice comes to practice the first day. Balls are bouncing off of Jerry Rice. I mean, he couldn't catch a cold that day. But the first time he catches a pass, well, it had to be 60 yards to the end zone. He turns and he sprinted, I mean, as fast as he could go, full speed. And we're going, oh, look at the rookie trying to impress the head coach, right? Come on, rookie, get back here. But the thing about it was, is every time Jerry caught a pass, I don't care if it was 9 yards or 90 yards, he went and scored a touchdown in practice. And so you ask yourself, is it a coincidence that Jerry Rice is the NFL's all-time touchdown reception leader? And I say no, because that's what he did every day. That's how he came to work every day. And his work ethics are contagious, both good and bad. Unfortunately for us, he had a good one, and it was very contagious. We had another guy on the other side named John Taylor. A lot of guys forget about John because we had Jerry Rice. And you go, okay, I'm going to throw Jerry Rice. I'm going to throw Jerry Rice. John used to say he ran for his health. And he'd be wide open. The bad part is he's wide open over there and you're going, oh, sorry, John. But all of a sudden in practice you're throwing the ball to John and he's running, he's scoring a touchdown. Or you throw the ball to Roger Craig or a running back coming out of the backfield and he would run and score. Then you throw to one of the three and the Three Stooges would race to the end zone. Right? And we're laughing, come on guys, this is getting to be old. But you never know when the little things come back to help you. Right? We're playing the Rams on a Monday night. Now, we're not playing. We usually play pretty well down there, but we're in LA, on TV. We're not playing very well, and we are not getting good field position. We get the ball time on the 4-yard line. I take 3 steps back and I throw a pass, a little 6-yard pass to John Taylor. John goes 96 yards for a touchdown. But the key was, inside the other 20 was Jerry Rice throwing a block. That was the key to get him into the end zone. Now, if that's not good enough, we get the ball on the 6-yard line. I step, same 3 steps, same 6-yard pass. JT goes 94 yards for a touchdown, with Jerry Rice again throwing another block to get him into the end zone. Now, I'm loving it because I'm a quarterback, right? I've thrown 2 6-yard passes, but in the books, I have 190 yards of passing and 2 touchdowns. So they can do this all they want. And the thing about it is we came back to win that game. But you never know when those little things, as I said, come back to help you. When you talk about Bill, when you look at the little things that are there, we were playing the Saints at home, and the Saints weren't actually very good back then, but we were losing 35-13 late in the 3rd quarter. And Bill calls us all up, and he says, listen, guys, I'm not giving up on this game, but this is what I want to do. I want to go back to the fundamentals. We're going to run the fundamentals of our offense, the things we put in the first day of practice. We're going to go back to the fundamental defenses. Let's just build something at the end of this game and just get ourselves into next week. Well, we did, and we came back to win 38-35. That's not good enough. Those little things that we talk about. One day, I come out of training camp, and we're coming off the 2nd day of practice. It's 100-some degrees. He calls Dwight Clark and myself over and says, come here, you two. And we think we're in trouble, right? Because Dwight was always getting me in trouble. And he says, I want you to practice this, and you're going to do it 3 times before I let you come off the field. And we're like, by the time we get done, we're walking off going, we never throw the ball to Dwight on this play, because he's basically, there's 2 receivers on the side, and he basically comes down and sets a pick. For the inside receiver, it kind of comes off like a basketball. Sorry, picks are illegal, so let's say he kind of gets in the way of the inside receiver, and he falls off, and we never threw the ball to Dwight ever. But little did we know, in the '81 championship game against the Cowboys, this play would be known as the catch. And it's now one of the most important plays in 49er history. But we had never thrown the ball till then, and we both thought Bill was crazy. And when we talk about that next game we played that year, the Super Bowl, and Bill coached Kenny Anderson, who was the quarterback, also in Cincinnati. When he says throw the ball 12 inches in front of the numbers, it's 4th and 1 on R1. Back comes out of the backfield. Kenny, all he has to do is throw it 12 inches in front of the numbers, and the guy falls in the end zone, and they take the lead. It becomes a different game. He throws the ball 8 inches behind the guy. The guy loses his momentum. Our linebacker, Dan Bunn, stops him on the 1-yard line. We go 99 yards and score, and we never look back after that. What a difference those little things make. And while you're doing all this, and while the work ethic that you're showing, it begins to show the people around you that they can trust you. Because, let's face it, we're all usually working with a team in some way or another. And we're all going to make mistakes, right? No one's perfect. They know I'm going to throw an interception. I don't want to throw an interception. They know I'm going to throw an incomplete pass. I know guys are going to miss blocks. I know guys are going to drop passes. But it's that trust that picks you back up. It's how you deal with those failures as a team that allows you to reach another level. And when you talk about trust and you talk about offensive football, it's all about trust. Because the minute I step up, put my hands under the center, I put my trust in those 5 fat guys. Because there are 5 other fat guys on the other side that don't like me having the ball. And I know they're going to miss a block. I know it. Those guys on the other side, they get paid. They get paid to do their job. But they trust that I'll get rid of the ball before I get a sack, so they don't get in trouble on Monday morning. And I trust that when I say 10-yard out to Jerry Rice or John Taylor, that they don't go 8 or 14, and the DB sees the ball thrown before I let it go, and before Jerry turns. Because they know and trust that if the DB catches the ball on the run, I will not catch him before he gets to the end zone. Because I did that once, and the guy ran me over on the one to get in the end zone, so it was kind of embarrassing. But trust is really, really important in offensive football, because you can't play the game without that trust. And when you talk about trust, trust starts really early with the quarterback in the center, because for some reason, you can throw an interception, yeah, the coach is mad, but when you drop the snap between yourself and the center, the head coach goes absolutely crazy. I'm not sure what it is. We didn't even turn the ball over, but he hates that more than he hates the interception. So quarterbacks, we had 120 some passes. We were a different team. You know, most of these guys have maybe 30 passes in their game plan. We had 120 with 2 formations. Some had 3 formations. A lot of memorization, because if it had 2 or 3 formations, we only got signaled. We didn't have those little earpieces, so we got signaled to play. So we spent a lot of time studying, you know, what order he wanted all those formations in, and it was a lot of work. So I got there early. We always get there early, and I go into the team meeting room. It's about 15 minutes early. I'd already been upstairs and gotten all the stuff for the day, and the center's sitting in there, and he's having breakfast. Right? Now he has a quart of chocolate milk and the biggest green chili bean burrito I've ever seen in my life. Now, you can only imagine what that does to a man's system at 7:30 in the morning, right? But I can only imagine where my hands have to be for the rest of the day. Yeah, and I know what you're thinking. Yes, and he did. He thinks it's funny on occasion. I trust he's not going to do that, but he likes to laugh every now and then. And yes, he did. But trust is a mutual thing, right? Because he soon found out that if he did have an issue, that with a little flick of my fingers, he had a very difficult time breathing for a while. So you see, trust is a big part of that. Before I go, I want to leave you with one other quick story about preparation, because I really believe it's the key to success. When I talked about I went to Notre Dame, I go in. When you go to Notre Dame, there's a special entrance exam, 150 questions. The guy goes in, sits down, rips through 149 questions, comes to the 150th, what's what? He doesn't care. You know, I'm ready to go. I know I passed this. 2 weeks later, he gets a letter from the university saying he's been denied entrance. He missed the most important question, what's what? I'll go back next year. I'll prepare myself again. I'll go in and I'll do better. I'll get it. Goes in, well prepared, sits down, 149 questions again. He didn't think what's what was going to be there. Sure enough, there was. Well, he takes a stab at it, turns his paper in, and sure enough, he got the same letter. A couple weeks later, he said, the heck with this. So he grabs his girlfriend. It's a nice summer day. They grab a canoe. They're going to go out on the lake. She's in a little tiny, skimpy bikini, and he's out there paddling away, staring off at the shoreline like the good, upstanding Notre Dame gentleman that he is. She sees he's paying no attention, says, the heck with this. I may as well get some sun. So she leans back, the top of her bikini hits the back of the boat, snaps open. He turns and says, what's that? She said, what's what? He said, well, hell, if I knew that, I'd be a sophomore in college. So you see, I really do believe, though, when I look back on my success, the 49ers success during that period of time I was there in the 80s and the first part of the 90s, that the way we prepared, the way we were taught to prepare, the work ethic that came about from it, and really the trust that we had because of all that really was the key for our success during that time. Just want to say thank you for having me this morning. Enjoy yourselves for the rest of the day.